It was a city that wore silence like a second skin. The kind of silence that wasn't peaceful, but rather watched you from the shadows. At 7:18 p.m., mist had swallowed the streets. Lamps flickered. Somewhere a dog barked and then whimpered into nothing. The hills brooded like they knew something no one else did. Mira lived alone at the edge of the city, in a wooden cottage her grandfather had left behind. She was 32, a freelance translator who barely spoke. Her life was defined by routines and silence. She liked it that way. The old landline phone in her house had rung only twice in the past 3 years. She kept it for nostalgia. On that night, it rang a third time. Tring, tring. It echoed through the wooden floor, startling her. She stared at it for several seconds. Her mobile lay beside her, unused. No missed calls. No notifications. Yet the landline rang. She picked it up slowly. Hello. There was silence. Faint static. Then a voice. You called me first, Mira. The voice was female, soft, almost a whisper, and familiar. Mira's breath caught. Who is this? You know me. You always have. Then the line went dead. She stared at the receiver for a full minute. Goosebumps ran across her arms. Her phone showed no outgoing calls. She didn't sleep that night. By morning, the sun had burned away the mist, but the unease remained. Mira rummaged through old photo albums in her attic. Something about the voice had struck a chord, deep, old, buried. There it was, a photograph from 1996. Her 8th birthday. Her parents, her grandmother, and a woman standing slightly apart, half-shadowed behind a tree. She wasn't smiling. Her face was tilted, her eyes directly at the camera. And something else, she had the same voice. On the back of the photo, someone had written in blue ink, Priya, 1989 to 2001. Mira froze. She remembered now, Priya was her aunt. She had died when Mira was 9. At noon, Mira unplugged the landline, just to be sure. By 12:04 p.m., it rang again. Still unplugged. Still no network. She didn't pick up. She recorded it instead. When she played the recording back, there was no sound. But when she slept, she heard it in her dreams.
You called me first.
Mira called her mother.
Why didn't you ever talk about Aunt Priya?
Long pause.
Because she was unstable. And because she died badly. She was obsessed with telepathy, automatic writing, phone calls from the dead, that sort of thing.
Mira felt a cold weight settle inside her. Her mother added, almost as an afterthought.
Her phone was the one in that house, you know. Same landline number. She was the last person to call from it before she died.
How did she die?
She jumped. Mira bought a call tracer. That night, the phone rang again. This time, she didn't say hello. She just listened. The voice said,
Don't be afraid. The line runs both ways.
The call tracer printed a number. It wasn't a phone number. It was a date. December 13th, 2022. Exactly 30 days from today.
Mira pinned a sticky note on her refrigerator. 13 December 2022, 30 days. She didn't know what would happen, but she knew something would. The number from the caller ID wasn't random. It wasn't a coincidence. It felt like a warning, or an appointment. Over the next few days, she stopped going out. The landline stayed silent, but she kept seeing flashes of things, reflections in the mirror that didn't match her movement, a silhouette passing behind frosted windows. Her own voice whispered back to her in dreams. Then on day 26, she found something strange in the attic. A box. Marked, Priya, private. Do not open. Inside was an old black rotary dial phone. No code, no socket, just the phone. Dusty, cold, and humming like it was waiting. Also in the box, a journal. Priya's diary. The first half was mundane, thoughts, drawings, scattered poetry. But after page 57, the handwriting changed. Jagged, obsessive. The line isn't dead. It listens. It learns. One call connects the past, the present, and the almosts. I heard her voice before she was born. I called Mira. I swear, I called her number in 1998. Mira's breath stopped. She had gotten her first mobile number in 2007. On day 22, Mira went walking, more like wandering. She didn't know where she was going until she found herself on a deserted old path known locally as Hollow Road. People said it led to nowhere. At a bend in the road, a man was standing, not moving, his back to her, wearing clothes like they were from the 80s. He slowly turned his head. His face was blank, no features, just skin. She blinked, and he was gone. She ran all the way back, the sound of footsteps echoing behind her even though no one followed. That night, she got a voicemail on her mobile, even though she had no missed call. It was her own voice.
Don't go to Hollow Road again. I couldn't save you twice.
Day 18. Mira retrieved her grandfather's old tape recorder and began documenting everything. Not on digital devices, she didn't trust them anymore. She played back a recording from the attic. In the background of her voice, a second voice whispered,
Count backward from 13. One digit will vanish each day.
She marked the calendar again. This time, counting backward. The pattern matched something Priya had once written. 13 is the oldest number, the number of undone fates. You don't escape it. You return to it. On day 13, the landline rang at 3:33 a.m. She picked up, breath trembling. A male voice this time.
You weren't supposed to remember. You weren't supposed to look.
Who are you?
We are the ones she called before you. The line doesn't belong to the living anymore.
What happens on the 13th?
The voice paused, then said one word.
Switch.
Mira didn't sleep anymore. Food tasted like paper. Her phone screen once glitched and showed her childhood photo, one she didn't have on the phone. She contacted an old friend, Aditya, now a psychiatrist in Delhi. She told him everything. He asked gently.
Mira, do you remember Priya's death correctly?
Of course.
She jumped. She was unstable.
You were the one who found her, right?
I was 9. I barely remember.
Aditya paused, then whispered.
No, Mira, you weren't 9. You were 17. You were there when she jumped. But you forgot.
That night, Mira didn't dream. She remembered the scent of wet concrete, the scream, hers, not Priya's. Standing at the edge of the roof, Priya had looked at her with blank eyes, not dead, just switched off, and said,
Tell them I never jumped. Tell them I just answered the call.
Then she stepped backward into the dark. Mira had run to the edge, and that was the moment her mind blacked out. Not from trauma, but something else. Like her memory was yanked. Now, 17 years later, it returned. Along with one realization, Priya hadn't died. She had transferred. On day 10, Mira found the tape recorder playing by itself. She hadn't touched it in days. A different voice spoke now. Her own voice, but slower, distorted, like it was spoken underwater.
I'm still here, Mira. In the wires. In the silence between the rings. You opened the line again. Thank you.
She tried to eject the tape. It wouldn't open. The machine sparked. Her hand burned. She threw it across the room, and for a second, it sounded like it screamed. Day 9, Mira's phone rang. Not the landline, her mobile. It was an unknown number, but the location tag said, Inside house. She answered. After a pause, a voice came.
Mira, it's you. The other you. The one that answered the call you ignored. I'm stronger now. Do you want to remember what you really are?
She ran to her mirror and froze. Her reflection blinked a second later than she did. Then it smiled. She did not. Mira dialed Priya's old number, just to test. It had been disconnected for years, but it rang. 1, 2, 3, click. A voice answered.
Thank you for connecting to the threshold. You have 8 days remaining. Please prepare your offering.
What offering?
Mira whispered. No reply, only the sound of ticking, and then her own voice saying,
Mira, do not speak to yourself past this point. It weakens the veil.
Day 7. Her landline was dead. She cut the wire herself, burned it, but she could still hear it ringing in her head. Whenever she touched water, she heard voices. Whenever she passed a mirror, her reflection mouthed words she wasn't saying. The number 13 kept showing up. 13 missed calls. 13 rupee balance on her phone. 13 steps from her bed to the door. And then, she found Priya's second diary. Inside, one page read.
I tried to give it to the phone. It wanted a memory. A voice. A life. I gave it mine. But it still hungers. One must always be on the line.
Day 6. There was a locked room in her house. Always locked. She never questioned it. It had been sealed since her parents passed. But that morning, it was open. Inside, only a chair, a desk, and a mirror with a rotary dial embedded in it. It rang. She didn't answer. The reflection did. And the reflection whispered.
She's not coming back. You're the new line now.
Mira found the forum by accident. Or maybe it found her.
If you've received the call, do not let it ring a third time. The third ring opens the memory of your last life. That's what it feeds on, memory.
Scrolling further, she found others. One said,
I unplugged every device. I moved cities. I changed my name. It rang again. Inside my dreams.
and the worst,
I answered out of curiosity. My daughter speaks in 2 voices now.
the tape recorder turned itself on at 2:13 a.m. It played a voice, Priya's, but not how Mira remembered. Stronger, older, controlled.
You're almost at the edge now. I was the first in our line. You are the last. When the memory resets, one of us must stay awake.
The tape ended with an address. She visited it the next day. It was an abandoned telephone exchange building, half burned, barbed wire everywhere. But inside, someone was waiting. He was in his 70s. Half his face was paralyzed. Yet his voice rang clear.
I was the first human to touch the line when it awakened.
He pointed at the main switchboard in the building, still intact but dusted over.
It speaks through analog. It hates the digital. Because digital forgets, but tape, wire, and memory, they remember.
She asked.
What does it want?
The man didn't blink.
To stay on the line. To exist through us. To never be hung up on again.
And then he gave her a headset wrapped in cloth.
You'll need this on day 1, if you want to stop it.
Despite cutting off all connections, it found a way. Her phone's battery was removed. Still, at 3:13 a.m., it vibrated. The screen lit up. One word, connect. She ignored it. Next morning, her mirror had a new crack. And in that crack, her reflection smiled. But only the crack smiled. That night, Mira didn't sleep. She fell into a memory. She was on the rooftop again. But this time, she wasn't herself. She was Priya. The same rooftop, same moonlight, same voice whispering.
We must pass the call, or be kept on hold. Forever.
When Priya turned around, it wasn't Mira standing behind her. It was a man made of codes, of wires. His face looked like a rotary dial. She woke up screaming. Under her pillow, the old telephone cord still coiled. It had returned. She went to the old telephone exchange at exactly 1:13 p.m. She wore the headset the operator gave her. The line buzzed. Then it spoke, not with words, but with memories. Every forgotten moment of Priya's life. The laughter, the fall, the fear. Then Mira's own voice, begging her younger self not to answer.
Don't pick up, Mira. Let it die.
The rotary phone before her began spinning on its own. It was dialing her, and the voice inside her mind whispered.
Say goodbye. Or stay forever.
She picked up. She didn't say hello. She didn't speak. She placed the headset on the rotary phone and turned the dial backwards, 1 digit at a time. 7, until it reached edge 0, and the voice screamed, not out of pain, but rage. Electric sparks flew. The switchboard caught fire. The mirrors in the room shattered. And then, silence. The kind of silence that feels eternal. Mira woke up in her own bed. The phone was gone. No tape recorder. No mirror crack. She checked her mobile. No calls. No missed calls. Only one new message. From a number. 00000000000.
You disconnected. But you remember. Until someone else dials again.
Stay off the line.
2 months later, a boy in another city finds an old rotary phone at a flea market. It's still wired, still ringing. He answers. The voice on the other side is soft. A girl. Calm. She says,
Hi.
My name is Mira. Can I tell you a story?